Good morning on Saturday morning, beautiful day out, sunny, ready to get some homework done before the due date of Sunday night, hopefully. So here's a question that came up in Piazza from a student just wanting to see how to work through a problem. So let's get my right color here. Okay, so now here's the question that was asked. If we're given a function, this function, f of x equals x squared minus 4x. And then the question's asking to find and probably simplify this f of x plus 6. So some of you may just say, okay, that means to take x plus 6, plug it in for the x over here in all the right places, do some algebra, and then we're simplified. I'm going to tell you, when I first saw this, to me it was difficult because I see an x here and then I see an x plus 6. So what does that really mean? What I found to take sort of that stress off the mental thinking process is to, from the original function, replace the x with a different symbol. And the symbol that I found to be the most helpful is a blank space. Okay, so I will take and rewrite this template, which is what a formula is. It's f of x, and instead of putting an x, the letter x, I put an open space because that is something ready to receive input. Then on the right hand side, everywhere I see an x, I'm going to replace that with a nice big open space. I'll use parentheses to delineate my space because otherwise it's hard to tell that there was a space there. So it's x squared minus 4x. And again, instead of having the x, I just have a nice open space to put things. This is helpful because now what am I being asked to do? I'm being asked to input this x plus 6. My mind is a little bit freer because in this template, I don't see an x already, so I know just to put x plus 6 into each of these. So I'm going to insert x plus 6 here. That's telling me to put that into the input space. The input space is now a nice open space to receive something, right? X plus 6. It goes there and here. One of the problems with just doing this, oftentimes people will replace this x as x plus 6 out here, and you'll see you don't get the distributing of the 4. Sometimes you'll get the x plus 6 in here, and you're doing it in your mind and stuff, and you don't get the middle term that's going to result for when we actually square this binomial out. Okay, so if you do this as a first set, now some of you have no problems with this and you just move forward, that's fine. But if you have any difficulties, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I am dyslexic and I have sort of symbol difficulties. Let's just put it that way. So I found techniques that work for me in doing the symbolic part of math. And so what we're able to do here is now, let's go ahead and run it out. So this left side never changes. This is f of x plus 6. It's not f times x plus 6. It's f of x plus 6. We're going to multiply this out. And so what that means is we're going to take x plus 6 squared, or times itself, x plus 6. Over here, we're going to take 4 times x plus 6. So I'm just going to rewrite it. And the reason I'm doing this is to show you each of the steps. You might do some of this process as you go through it. Oops, one parenthesis missing here. There we go. Okay. So as we go through this, to simplify, we're going to take x times x, giving us x squared. Then we're going to take x times 6 here. So there was the first, the outer do the inner right here, 6 times x, and that gives us another plus 6x. And then we do the last 6 times 6, which gives us plus 36. On the second term here, we're going to distribute this -4 to the x and the 6. So we first do this part, and that's going to give us -4x. And then we do this part, -4 times +6, which gives us a -24. And our last step, I guess we should keep writing down as we go. And again, sometimes we get a little sloppy because this is just our scratch work, but when we go to enter things, we should be clear. And so now we look for like terms. Here's an x squared. That's the only x squared term, so that's all there's going to be, just that. X squared will be at the front. Next, we've got these like terms, the x's. So we've got a +6, a +6, and a -4. So 6 plus 6 is 12x. -4x is going to give us a result of positive 8. So positive 12 minus 4 will give us a plus 8x. Okay, and then finally we've got the numbers that are like terms, a positive 36 and -24. So we're subtracting their opposite signs. 36 is bigger, so it's going to be a positive. And let's see, that 2 from 3 is 1, 4 from 6 is 2, so that must be a 12. And so this is our final answer, f of x plus 6 equals x squared plus 8x plus 12. I hope you found this helpful, and more importantly, even if you got this one right, maybe this technique will help, especially as we get into maybe more complicated functions with more places for input. But it works for me, and hopefully you found it helpful.